I'm Anthony Wright, and I am your co-host today on The Living Conversation with my co-host,
Adam Dietz.
and we'd like to welcome you again. And Adam, you and I were talking off of the before we started our session today, and one of the things that I guess I've been kind of sad this week, with the passage of that big bill through Congress. Um, and one of the things that I had written on my uh, text to you about how I was kind of sad about how people are just I should have got this up before we got started here. Um, I said I'm currently watching U.S. Senate TV where many Republicans are choosing whether they value human life or not. So interesting that is even a question. And as has been proven so many times before, human illusion always dissolves. Much compassion for those who attempt to hold on to it. It's curious how difficult this lesson seems to have been processed again. Um, and one of the things that I had thought about talking about today was how one of the MAGA proponents talked about um, flooding the zone with crap, right? And so what I thought about was, okay, if the zone is flooded with crap, um, rather than being shocked by it, we need to turn into wastewater treatment professionals. So what do you do when the zone is flooded with crap? You understand how a wastewater treatment plant works, and first you have to let the solids settle out, and then you have to aerate the water, and then cleanse the water. But you had talked about in one of our previous conversations about a Taoist idea about not stirring up muddy water. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, as you're speaking to that point, there is a long history in Chinese culture and in is recorded in Chinese literature as well, where people have a lot of energy, people have a lot of effort, they want to help contribute to society.
Right,
Traditional Chinese culture did really try to emphasize meritocracy where anyone across the land could take the national exam, and if they did well, they could achieve. So even from a low status, you
right,
could go much higher. So there was a lot of belief in that you should make an effort, you should be responsible, you should want to contribute to society, you should have as our teacher doctor, we would say a concerned mind for society.
right,
You help. This is very Confucian. The Confucian idea is that you take responsibility, make an effort to help. Sometimes Chinese culture had the worst government, the most corrupt emperor, most corrupt officials.
yeah. And
At
that's one
this
of the things
time,
that I appreciate about studying Chinese philosophy. If I haven't said it before, I mean, they've seen it all. They've seen stuff like this come through. So continue, please.
yeah, thousands of years of ups and downs.
Yeah,
In to that point, when you could see it in even Confucius himself or Mencius them himself, when they would encounter a tyrant,
right,
they or some kind of government, Confucius had to flee for his life to escape from a bad political situation. And this is a recurring theme in Chinese literature, Chinese culture. The Three Kingdoms is one big piece of Chinese literature that addresses this. Outlaws of the Marsh is another piece
all
in
right,
traditional Chinese literature that addresses this. You see characters that first and foremost want to contribute to society. They want to show up. They want to be responsible. They want to make effort. They want to show righteousness and humanity and bring that into governance, bring wisdom, bring Confucian values. But when a tyrant comes, then this type of character will show Taoist sensibilities. They'll retreat. They'll go to their family farm and wait for the emperor to implode on their own because they will, because they're
Always
going
happens.
against
Yep.
principle. So they'll hide, stay safe, keep their own energy, cultivate their own fields, study, stay in the mountains, retreat. There are many characters in Chinese literature that went through this type of situation.
Right.
So when we were talking about being wastewater management, right?
Hope
Yeah,
you-
we previously had mentioned that this is like an image in Lao Tzu, Taoist, Tao Te Ching, Lao Tzu, famous philosopher of Taoist philosophy.
Uh-huh.
And there's a very popular image that we discuss in our class 101, critical thinking. What are some different ways to look at thinking? What are some different ways to understand the mind? So this now wastewater management, Lao Tzu says to practice Taoist philosophy, right? We should keep our mind still, keep our mind empty. So the image is be like a hand searching in muddy water. If you're a hand searching in muddy water and you're very active and you're very excited and you're looking everywhere and
This
grasping,
is the next thing that came down the line, and we have to deal with that, and we had to deal with something before that, and something before that.
so you're active, you're grasping, you're trying. In this case, in this analogy, maybe we're looking at every bit of news,
Right.
we're wondering what politician said that, what's gonna happen, what's gonna happen. We all feel this way.
Yeah.
Whether you are conservative or liberal, if you're paying attention to politics, and sometimes you get very agitated, very
Hmm.
excited, want to grab at the next idea, cause trouble with the other person, have an argument. This is very active.
Right.
So Lao Tzu says to have mental clarity, for example, we should be like the hand searching muddy water. If we are very active, we're searching everywhere, grabbing, we just stir up more turbidity, cause more crap.
And that's part of the hook,
Mm, mm.
right? And I was talking before about my discovery about turning off the YouTube search history. So I'm not continuously being offered stuff to get me stirred up.
Right, right. So you practice in that sense, you practice a little bit of retreat.
Yep.
In this analogy, it's like your hand remains still. So,
Yeah.
and we don't need to grasp. We don't need to look. I think you mentioned in your example, you let these YouTube, what's the word for it? Algorithm
Right.
go away, let it pass by, and now you can have clear mind of what you actually want to search up, what you actually came onto YouTube to look up, look for. Oftentimes we think spirituality, philosophy, mindfulness is doesn't go with social media. But it's not true. We can practice mindful social media. Hmm?
Right.
You
Right.
can say, why did I really go on here? What did I really want to see? What is being presented to me that I don't want to accept? So this is another example of
And
when
people
you
may not
just,
even think about that in beforehand, you know?
yeah, it just reels or YouTube shorts just keep coming to you and you keep
Yep.
accepting them without thinking about it. This is like your mind is very active, very stirred up. So in this case, you need to take a moment, let things pass, like a hand searching in muddy water. You just remain still. Remain still,
Oh,
then
right.
allow your inner insight to come back up again, your sincerity, your purpose, what you really came to do, what you're there for.
And I guess that can carry moment to moment in daily life. What am I actually choosing here?
Yeah.
Because it's always a choice, wouldn't you say?
Absolutely, absolutely. I think
No.
if you
And
mentioned before in previous episodes that the Tao makes space. Actually,
right.
actually, in our minds, we are unlimited. We have the universe in our mind. We have unlimited like time and space. We are like Carl Sagan. We are made of stardust. We
Right.
have unlimited space in our mind. If we can just let the things that are outside settle, then we can understand how unlimited our mind is. Then we could feel free, we could feel time, we could feel space, we could allow our truer self to come out. Hmm.
One of the things that comes to mind is it's an acronym that my students and I think maybe yours might have offered, but it's something that's offered to us about it's called fear of missing out.
Mm,
Oh, we have to stay connected and that keeps us hooked into the cycle of keeping stuff stirred up.
mm, mm.
But do we really miss out?
Yeah, yeah, miss out on
We miss out on getting stirred up.
miss if we have FOMO, if
Yeah,
we are constantly chasing the next thing,
right.
and no matter how wonderful the next thing is, we could be missing out on actually the most important thing, ourself. Mm, mm. So if
Say
we're
more about that,
chasing,
please.
if we're chasing the next experience, for I think a good example here would be we want to have the euphoria of going to a concert. Maybe maybe just really get ourselves in this high of watching the most excellent concert. And if we don't go, then we'll feel FOMO, fear of
Oh,
missing
yeah,
out.
yeah.
Now, that can have two sides of the same coin. Like you could go and you could have a transcendent experience at this concert. You could maybe have this concert and the vibes of the people around you help clear your mind. You have an authentic experience of self. Maybe it's true. But if you're caught in this circle, this cycle of always chasing the next thing, then no matter how excellent your experience is, your mind's already going to the next. What's the next FOMO? What's the next FOMO? What's the next FOMO?
Oh,
So
so it's getting ahead of itself.
no matter where you are, you don't experience, you don't have yourself. You're already, like you said, getting ahead of yourself. You're missing out on what is always there inside of you. Lao Tzu, in the end of chapter, very second to last chapter, Lao Tzu says, the ideal village has sharp tools only on display, has elaborate vehicles and carriages that are just in the garage only. They wake up in the morning and they could hear over the mountain the neighboring village of a rooster or a dog barking. But all their life, they don't need to even go to the next village and they could still, in their own village, experience Tao. So experience the way, experience Tao is something in our mind. We don't need something elaborate. We don't need something to chase after. We don't need to have FOMO. Tao is always with you. Tao is always in you. Tao is always in all things. Don't need something elaborate or exciting. Don't need to have FOMO of missing out on Tao.
Okay. We have to take a short break. I'm Anthony Wright. I am your co-host with
Adam Dietz.
Adam Yates, and we're going to take a short break and be right back. So stay tuned.
I'm Adam Dietz, and you can contact me at dietzadam@gmail.com, Dietz Adam@gmail.com, or if you prefer and you're active on Instagram, I'm at the dot way between on Instagram. I'm also on Substack, the way between on Substack. That's where almost everything will be filtered through on Substack. You can also search us up on YouTube, but I think those are the best avenues, those first three. So I really appreciate everyone chiming in. Please give us any information that you have about how you've been able to protect yourself, cultivate yourself, grow, flourish in these times.
And I'm Anthony Wright, and my website is theonaut, theonaut.com. And it's A as in Apple, S as in Sam, W as in William, numeral 2, N as in Nora, R as in Robert. I'll say that again, ASW2NR at theonaut.com, or you can make a comment directly on my website.